Here is a sentence that a business English textbook would be very proud of. Dear Mr. Johnson, I would like to inquire as to whether it would be possible for us to schedule a meeting at your earliest convenience. And here is what a real professional would actually write. Hi Tom, do you have time for a quick call this week? Same meaning, completely different impact. If you have ever written an email in English and wondered why it felt stiff, why it felt like you were filling in a form, not having a conversation, this video is the answer. The problem is not your grammar. The problem is not your vocabulary size. The problem is that someone taught you formal English when what you actually needed was professional English, and those are not the same thing.
Today, I am going to show you 6 phrases that textbooks teach and the natural, professional alternatives that native speakers actually use at work. By the end of this video, you will have 6 direct swaps you can make tomorrow in your emails, your messages, your meetings. You will sound less like a document and more like a person. Let us get into it. Before we look at the phrases, let us make sure we understand the problem clearly, because a lot of learners think formal equals professional. If I use longer, more sophisticated words, I sound more competent. And I understand why you think that. That's what most English courses teach.
But here is the truth. Native professional speakers do not use formal language to sound competent. They use clear, direct language. Formal language, the kind where every sentence is long and every request starts with, I would like to, actually slows down communication. It creates distance. It can even come across as cold or oddly stiff in a modern workplace. Think about it this way. If a colleague walks up to your desk and says, I was hoping you might be able to assist me with a minor matter, you would probably think something was wrong. Nobody talks like that. But that sentence? It is straight out of a business English textbook. Real professional English is warm, efficient, and direct. It is not casual, you are not texting a friend, but it is not a legal document either. It lives in the middle. And today, we are going to learn to live there too. Okay, phrase 1, following up. Let us start with phrase 1. This is one of the most common situations in any workplace. You sent an email, you have not heard back, and you need to follow up. The textbook version. I am writing to follow up on my previous email regarding the matter discussed last Tuesday. Too long, too formal, sounds like a complaint. Here is the natural version. Just circling back on this. Did you get a chance to look it over? Circling back. That is the phrase. It means returning to something you already sent or discussed. It is professional, it is gentle, and it does not make the other person feel accused of ignoring you. You can also say, wanted to check in on this. Any updates? Short, friendly, still professional. Why does this work? Because in a real workplace, the person you are emailing is busy. They are not trying to ignore you. Circling back acknowledges that. It says, I know you are busy, I am just making sure this did not fall through the cracks. The textbook phrase does the opposite. It sounds like you are filing a complaint. Use circle back when you are following up on an email, a request, or a conversation. You can say it in writing or out loud in a meeting. Let me circle back to what James said earlier. Phrase 2, keeping people informed. Phrase 2, you want to make sure someone knows about a situation or a decision. You need to keep them in the loop. The textbook version. I would like to inform you of recent developments regarding this project. Terrible! That sounds like a government announcement. Here is the natural version. Just wanted to loop you in on this. Loop you in, or keeping you in the loop. This phrase means I am making sure you have the information you need. It is inclusive. It signals that you respect the other person enough to keep them informed. You use it when you forward an email. Looping you in, see below. You use it in a message. Wanted to loop in Sarah on this before we decide. You use it in meetings. I am going to loop the marketing team in before the launch. The opposite, when someone is not getting information they should be getting, is I think we need to loop him in, or I did not want to leave her out of the loop. One warning, do not overuse this. Like any phrase, if you say it in every message, it loses its value. Use it when you are genuinely including someone who was not part of the conversation before. Phrase 3 is one of my favorites because it is so useful and so underused by non-native speakers. Imagine this situation. Your company is planning something that will affect a client or a colleague or another team. You want to warn them in advance, not as a complaint, not as a demand, just as a courtesy. You are giving them advance notice so they can prepare. The textbook version? We wish to notify you in advance of the following changes which will take effect. Natural version? Just wanted to give you a heads up. Heads up. This is one of the most versatile phrases in professional English. A heads up is a warning, a notice, or a useful piece of information given in advance. It is always friendly. It always implies, I am telling you this because I want you to be prepared, not because I am creating a problem for you. You can say, heads up, the client meeting got moved to Thursday. Or, wanted to give you a quick heads up before the team call, there might be some questions about the deadline. Or even just heads up, followed by the information. In meetings, you can say, just a heads up for everyone, we are going to be switching systems next month. Clear, efficient, warm. The reason this phrase works so well is that it respects the other person's time. You are not burying information in a formal paragraph. You are flagging something directly. Quick pause here, before we get to phrases 4, 5, and 6. If what you have learned in this video so far has been useful, if even one of these phrases is something you are going to use this week, would you do something for me? Hit like. And if you are not subscribed yet, please subscribe. I will be honest with you. This channel uses AI-generated voice and visuals. You probably noticed, but the script, the research, the examples, the teaching structure, every word Alex says, that is written and reviewed by a human, and it takes real time to get right. We do not pump out content. We sit with each topic, figure out what actually confuses learners, test the examples, and rewrite until it is genuinely useful. Liking and subscribing costs you nothing, but for a channel like this one, it is how we grow. It is how the algorithm decides to show this to other learners who need it. It is how we are able to keep making more. So if this has been worth your time, thank you. Genuinely. Now, back to it. Phrase 4. This is the one I hear learners struggle with most. Not because the English is difficult, but because it requires a kind of professional confidence that is hard to develop. You are in a meeting, or you have received an email, and you are not completely sure what is being asked of you. You need to ask for clarification. You want to make sure you understand correctly before you act. The textbook version. I would appreciate it if you could kindly elaborate on the above. That is not a clarification request. That is a formal objection. No one in a real office says that. Here is what they say. Just to make sure I am understanding this correctly, you want me to...
And then you restate what you think is being asked. That phrase, just to make sure I am understanding this correctly, is one of the most powerful things you can say in a professional setting. Here is why. First, it shows you are paying attention. Second, it gives the other person the chance to correct any misunderstanding before you waste time going in the wrong direction. Third, it is humble without being weak. You are not saying, I don't understand. You are saying, let me confirm. You can also say, can you walk me through that? Which means explain it step by step. Or, what does that look like in practice? Which means give me a concrete example.
These phrases do something that please elaborate will never do. They open a real conversation. They invite the other person to explain, rather than demanding a formal response. Phrase 5. Something went wrong, or something needs to be done. You are the person responsible. The textbook version, and this one is particularly common in learner emails. I apologize for any inconvenience this may have caused. Please be assured that we will endeavor to resolve this matter as soon as possible. That is 15 words saying nothing. It promises action without committing to it. It apologizes without meaning it. Native speakers can read that kind of language instantly, and it destroys trust. Here is the natural version. 2 parts. Part 1, the apology. Sorry about that. I should have caught that earlier. Part 2, the action. I will get it sorted today, or I am on it. I am on it. 3 words, completely professional, says everything. Or if something is not quite ready yet, I am working on it, should have it to you by end of day. The difference is ownership. Textbook apologies are passive. They use language like any inconvenience this may have caused to avoid direct responsibility. Natural professional language is active. I should have caught that. I am on it. I will fix it. It is honest and it is direct, and that is exactly what builds trust in a workplace.
When you are taking ownership, say what happened clearly and say what you are doing about it. Short, direct, confident. And phrase 6. This one seems small, but it comes up in every single workday. The end of a conversation, an email, a meeting. How do you close professionally without sounding like you are signing off a legal contract? The textbook version. Please do not hesitate to contact me should you require any further assistance. Nobody says that. Let me say it again. Nobody says that. It is in every textbook and nobody says it. Here are the 3 natural alternatives, depending on the situation. For emails to colleagues, let me know if you need anything. Clear, friendly, human.
For emails to clients or external contacts, happy to answer any questions. Warmer, professional, opens the door without feeling obligatory. For ending a meeting or a call, thanks everyone, let us stay in touch. Or I will follow up with next steps, which tells the other person exactly what happens next, which is always appreciated. The reason please do not hesitate to contact me does not work is this. The phrase do not hesitate is a double negative command. It is unnecessarily complex for a very simple message. Let me know if you need a thing says the same thing in half the words and sounds like a person, not a policy document. The real reason this matters.
Let me take a moment here because I do not want you to walk away thinking this is just about sounding more casual. It is not. Professional English fluency, real fluency, the kind that gets you taken seriously in meetings, the kind that makes your emails get responses, is not about having a large vocabulary or perfect grammar. It is about being understood quickly and making the other person feel like you respect their time. Textbook English fails at that. It is slow, it is cold, it puts a glass wall between you and the people you are working with.
The phrases we covered today are not shortcuts. They are how professionals actually communicate. Circling back instead of following up on my previous correspondence. Looping someone in instead of informing relevant parties. Giving a heads up instead of providing advance notification. Saying, I am on it instead of we will endeavor to resolve. Saying, let me know if you need anything instead of please do not hesitate. Every one of these is shorter, warmer, and more direct. And every one of them will make you sound more confident, because confident professionals do not need to hide behind formal language. Quick recap. 6 phrases, 6 direct swaps. 1. Circle back instead of follow up on my previous email. 2. Loop you in instead of inform you of recent developments. 3. Heads up instead of provide advance notification. 4. Just to make sure I am understanding this correctly instead of please elaborate. 5. I am on it instead of 15 words of formal apology that mean nothing. 6. Let me know if you need anything instead of please do not hesitate to contact me. Write these down. Better yet, pick one and use it this week. One phrase used in context is worth more than 100 phrases memorized from a list. And here is my question for you. Which phrase sounds most like something you have been saying the textbook way? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. And if you made it this far, comment the word natural, because you specifically are going to sound more natural at work from today. If you watched video 9 on Register, on why your English can sound off even when the grammar is right, this video is the practical companion. The theory was there, this is the practice. Next video, we are going to look at something that makes a huge difference in meetings. How to give your opinion in English without sounding too aggressive and without sounding too passive. That balance is harder than it sounds, and most learners land in the wrong place. Subscribe so you do not miss it.